There's something about lakes at night that captivates and terrifies. The still waters, the fog rolling across the surface, and the distant sounds of the forest combine to create a scene both peaceful and eerie. But what happens when the calm is shattered by the whispers of the past, the shadows of lost souls, and the cries of those who never left? Tonight, we'll journey into the chilling depths of America's most haunted lakes, where the water doesn't just reflect the moonlight, it reflects the stories of the restless dead. Lake Shawnee in Kansas carries a reputation far darker than its serene surface suggests. Before the lake was formed, the land was home to a Native American settlement, a community that met tragic ends through disease, conflict, and other misfortunes. These events left a lingering imprint, and many believe that the spirits of those who perished never found peace. Today, visitors speak of experiences that defy explanation, suggesting that the lake and surrounding forests remain haunted, preserving echoes of a long-forgotten past. One of the most frequently reported phenomena is the sudden appearance of mist. Even on bright, sunny days, a thick fog can sweep across the water, curling through the trees and shrouding the shoreline. As the mist rolls in, shadowy figures sometimes appear, drifting along the banks or peering from the woods. Witnesses often describe these shapes as human in form, yet they vanish when approached, leaving only a chill in the air and an unsettling sense that someone or something is silently observing. Campers and hikers have reported that these presences are persistent, appearing night after night, as if the spirits are tethered to the land and refuse to leave. Nighttime visits to Lake Shawnee amplify the eerie feeling. Hikers and anglers have described hearing phantom footsteps crunching through leaves along the shore. Yet, when they investigate, no one is there. Some claim to feel invisible eyes tracking their movements, a sensation that becomes nearly suffocating in the stillness of the night. Adding to the strangeness, there are reports of ghostly laughter, especially the faint giggles of children. Locals say these sounds are echoes from the past, perhaps spirits of young members of the settlement who died too soon, wandering the lake in search of their lost lives. Paranormal investigators have also taken an interest in Lake Shawnee. Those who set up cameras and recording equipment often capture unusual phenomena: fleeting orbs of light moving through the trees, unexplained flashes across the water, and shadowy figures that seem to vanish when approached. Some cameras record what appears to be movement across open fields where no human activity occurs, while audio devices pick up whispers and murmurs that cannot be identified. The consistency of these reports has fueled the belief that the lake is more than just a beautiful natural landmark. It is a repository of restless spirits. Visitors often describe the atmosphere around the lake as heavy and watchful. Even in broad daylight, there is a sense of unease, as if the trees themselves are alive with hidden observers. Fishermen have felt sudden chills sweep across the water, while hikers have sensed invisible presences pressing close, urging them to leave certain areas. These experiences are not isolated. Multiple visitors over the years have reported nearly identical sensations, suggesting that the lake's haunting is both pervasive and persistent. Local legend reinforces these eerie encounters. It is said that the spirits protect their sacred ground, keeping intruders from disturbing the memory of the lives lost there. The children's laughter, shadowy figures, and phantom footsteps are thought to be manifestations of the past asserting itself, a reminder that history cannot be erased. Even when a lake covers the land, many who have ventured into the area admit to a mix of fascination and fear, drawn by the lake's beauty but unnerved by the subtle hints of a lingering presence. For those who respect the history and approach the lake cautiously, Lake Shawnee offers a unique glimpse into a world where the past and present intertwine. The mist curling over the water, the shadowy figures among the trees, and the whispers carried on the night air create a setting that is both haunting and mesmerizing. It is a place where memories persist, where the spirits of the past refuse to be forgotten, and where the living are reminded that some histories are never truly buried. Lake Shawnee remains a haunting testament to the lives lost and the mysteries that endure. Its waters, forests, and shores are not merely scenic. Those who listen carefully may hear the whispers, feel the unseen eyes, or glimpse a shadow where none should exist. It is a lake that holds onto its past, a silent witness to tragedy, and a place where the living and the dead coexist in uneasy harmony. Lake Lanier, nestled in the northern part of Georgia, is renowned for its sparkling waters, scenic views, and recreational opportunities. Tourists flock to its shores for boating, fishing, and waterside relaxation. The lake, created in the 1950s by damming the Chattahoochee River, submerged entire towns, roads, and cemeteries. This flooding displaced countless residents and, according to local legend, trapped the spirits of those who once called the area home. Many believe these restless souls continue to haunt the waters and surrounding land, creating a chilling contrast to the lake's otherwise serene beauty. The most frequently reported phenomena involve the drowned spirits of those who perished when their homes, graves, and communities were submerged. Boaters at night often recount hearing piercing screams emanating from the depths of the lake, sounds that vanish as soon as they attempt to locate their source. Shadowy figures are sometimes seen climbing the shores, a reminder that the waters are not as empty as they seem. Even during the day, the lake can feel unnervingly alive. Visitors have reported sudden chills, often in the middle of hot summer afternoons. The air along certain coves or near submerged structures can feel thick and oppressive, creating an almost tangible tension. Some boaters claim that objects aboard their vessel's fishing rods, coolers, even life jackets shift or move without explanation, sliding across surfaces as though guided by unseen hands. The lake's haunted reputation is also tied to the cemeteries and communities that now lie beneath the water. Old maps and historical accounts reveal that entire towns were evacuated and flooded, along with countless family graves. Local lore suggests that the spirits of those buried in these areas were not properly relocated or honored, leaving them trapped beneath the waters. People visiting the lake have described hearing whispers near shallow coves, faint voices calling names, or even feeling invisible hands brush against them while wading in the water. These encounters are reported across the lake, creating a shared narrative that reinforces the belief in lingering spirits. Boaters and night anglers are often the most frequent witnesses to Lake Lanier's paranormal activity. On foggy or moonlit nights, they sometimes see shadowy figures moving along the banks or floating just beneath the water's surface. Lights appear and disappear in impossible ways, flickering like lanterns without a source. Some claim to have glimpsed what appears to be an entire submerged town. Houses and roads faintly visible through unusually clear water, only for it to vanish moments later. Even those skeptical of ghost stories often admit that the lake feels different after dark, with a quiet tension that is impossible to ignore. Many recount hearing disembodied footsteps or soft, and some campers awake in the middle of the night to the sensation of unseen pressure on their tents or sleeping bags. The cumulative effect of these experiences contributes to Lake Lanier's eerie reputation and keeps it high on the list of haunted locations in the United States. Even local residents acknowledge that the lake has a reputation that transcends its physical beauty. While Lake Lanier is often promoted for recreational activities, some attribute the hauntings to the unsettled spirits of those whose lives were disrupted, drowned, or buried under the lake. Others believe that tragic energy accumulates over time, particularly in areas of concentrated suffering and sudden death, which explains the persistence of strange occurrences decades after the lake's creation. Whether one approaches the lake from a historical perspective or simply experiences its hauntings firsthand, Lake Lanier is impossible to ignore. The combination of natural beauty, recreational appeal, and deep-seated legend creates a place that is both inviting and foreboding. For those willing to explore its waters, the stories of screams from below, shadowy figures climbing the shores, inexplicable chills, and objects moving on their own are constant reminders that beneath the placid surface lies a history that refuses to remain buried. To visit Lake Lanier is to step into a landscape where the past and present coexist. It is a place where the memory of drowned towns and submerged lives persists, where ghostly whispers mingle with the wind across the water, and where those who are lost continue to remind the living that some histories never truly fade. Lake Michigan, one of the Great Lakes, stretches across the Midwest like a vast shimmering expanse, its waters reflecting the changing skies and bustling cities along its shores. By day, it is a playground for fishermen, sailors, and families enjoying the beaches. Waves lap gently against the sand, sailboats drift lazily in the distance, and the horizon seems endless. Yet beneath this serene surface lies a chilling history, a repository of tragedy and restless spirits that have haunted these waters for centuries. The lake is infamous for shipwrecks, some dating back hundreds of years. Early explorers, merchant ships, and fishing vessels all fell victim to sudden storms, treacherous currents, and hidden shoals. Thousands of lives were lost, often far from the shore, leaving families with unanswered questions and hearts heavy with grief. Over time, the collective sorrow of these tragedies became part of the lake itself, creating an energy that many claim is still palpable along the beaches and piers of Chicago, Milwaukee, and other lakeside towns. Visitors to Lake Michigan have reported seeing ghostly ships appearing on foggy nights. These phantom vessels often resemble the schooners and steamships of the 19th and early 20th centuries, their outlines faint but unmistakable against the mist. Witnesses describe the sails as tattered, the masts swaying despite calm winds, and the hulls moving silently across the water. Some claim to hear the sounds of ropes creaking, the flapping of canvas, and the distant voices of sailors calling orders, as if the crews of the past are still navigating their doomed routes. On occasion, these spectral ships approach the shore, only to vanish completely when onlookers draw near, leaving nothing but a faint ripple in the water as evidence of their presence. Phantom bells are another frequent phenomenon. Fishermen and late-night sailors along the lake's coasts report hearing the deep toll of ship bells, echoing across the water where no vessel exists. These sounds are often accompanied by distant shouting, the panicked voices of crews long lost to storms or accidents. The cries seem to drift across the waves, growing louder and then fading into silence, creating an atmosphere of unease that lingers long after the sounds have vanished. Some locals believe these auditory hauntings are echoes of the moments when ships sank, preserved in the water and replayed for those who venture too close. Divers exploring sunken wrecks have occasionally captured phenomena that defy explanation. Lights appear beneath the water, moving independently of any current, sometimes forming vague, humanoid shapes or glowing orbs that vanish when approached. Shadows pass across the wreckage in ways that cannot be accounted for by natural movement. Some divers have reported hearing faint, muffled voices, whispering from the depths as if the spirits of those who perished remained trapped, unable to ascend to the world above. These underwater manifestations have led some paranormal researchers to suggest that the lake acts as a conduit between the mortal world and a realm of lingering souls, preserving the memory of each life lost to its icy embrace. Even on shore, the haunting presence of Lake Michigan is felt. Joggers along the shoreline report sudden cold gusts, as if a pocket of winter wind has descended without warning in the middle of summer. Others describe the sensation of being brushed by invisible hands, subtle touches that leave no mark but send shivers down the spine. Beachgoers occasionally glimpse figures walking along the sand at dusk or dawn, only to find that no one is there when they approach. These ghostly impressions, fleeting but unmistakable, are often attributed to the spirits of those who drowned or were lost at sea, bound to the lake until their stories are fully acknowledged. Some of the most enduring legends of Lake Michigan involve specific locations. The harbor near Chicago, with its busy piers and shipping lanes, is said to be particularly active with supernatural energy. Boats passing at night have reported sudden, unexplained malfunctions, lights flickering, engines stalling, and compasses spinning, all coinciding with eerie, shadowy shapes appearing on the horizon along the Milwaukee shoreline. Joggers and night watchers have spoken of hearing faint cries and seeing spectral figures move along deserted docks, as if retracing the final moments of their mortal lives. The lake's winters add another layer to its haunted reputation. Thick fogs roll off the icy waters, concealing the shoreline and creating an environment in which reality and memory seem to blur. Those walking along the beaches report a disorienting sense of time as if the past is playing alongside the present. Footsteps echo behind them where no one walks. The distant glint of lights suggests phantom vessels, and the wind carries cries of lost sailors. Even the gulls, circling silently over the water, seem to avoid certain stretches of shore, leaving a sense of unnatural quiet that is hard to ignore. Lake Michigan's stories are not always terrifying. They often carry a profound sense of sorrow. Many who experience these hauntings describe the spirits as trapped and mourning, replaying the trauma of their deaths rather than seeking to harm the living. There is a haunting beauty to this, an acknowledgement of the countless lives that were taken too soon and the history submerged beneath the waves. Visitors who approach the lake with respect sometimes feel a solemn connection to these lost souls, a fleeting sense of being part of a larger story that spans centuries. Yet, despite the haunting tales, Lake Michigan remains one of the most visited and admired lakes in the United States. Its waters invite recreation, its beaches offer relaxation, and its skyline provides inspiration. But for those who know the stories, the lake is a place of caution. The shadows of ships, the echoing bells, and the whispers of the drowned serve as a reminder that beneath the beauty lies a depth of history, sorrow, and unquiet spirits. To stand on the shores of Lake Michigan at night, watching the waves under a moonlit sky, is to step into a liminal space where the living and the dead coexist. It is a place where shipwrecks, storms, and drownings are not just historical facts. They are living memories, preserved in the waters and whispered along the wind. The lake tells its story quietly, hauntingly, and endlessly, a testament to the thousands of lives lost and the spirits who remain, forever bound to the icy depths of Lake Michigan. Lake Champlain, straddling the border between New York and Vermont, is a body of water steeped in history, natural beauty, and the lingering echoes of conflict. By day, it is serene and inviting, its waters reflecting the surrounding forests and distant mountains. Boaters glide across its surface, fishermen cast their lines, and tourists marvel at the picturesque scenery. Yet beneath this tranquil facade lies a darker past, one that continues to ripple through the waters in the form of restless spirits and ghostly phenomena. The lake's history is deeply entwined with the Revolutionary War. Several key battles were fought along its shores, with soldiers from both the American and British sides losing their lives in brutal engagements. The waters themselves claimed lives as soldiers fell from boats or were swept away by the currents during skirmishes. Local legend maintains that many of these fallen soldiers never found peace, their spirits remaining tethered to the lake, replaying the horrors of battle for anyone who dares to witness them. Visitors to Lake Champlain often recount experiences that are as unnerving as they are inexplicable. Boaters, especially at night or during foggy mornings, report seeing ghostly rowboats drifting silently across the water, unmanned yet moving with purpose. These phantom vessels are described as being shrouded in a thin, silvery mist, with outlines of soldiers faintly visible, rowing as though enacting orders from centuries past. The sight is often accompanied by the sounds of shouted commands, the crack of musket fire, or the distant rumble of cannon blasts, all echoing across the water in ways that defy explanation. Along the shoreline, spectral figures have been reported standing silently among the trees or wandering the edges of beaches where battles once raged. Witnesses describe soldiers in period uniforms, their faces etched with exhaustion and pain, appearing and disappearing without warning. Some claim the spirits follow them for brief stretches, only to vanish when approached directly, leaving behind an unsettling silence that feels heavy with history. Others describe hearing muffled cries of the wounded, faint whispers calling names, or the anguished groans of men dying far from home, as though the lake itself preserves the final moments of countless soldiers. Divers and fishermen have also encountered ghostly phenomena beneath the waves. Shadowy figures are sometimes seen moving just below the surface, indistinct yet undeniably humanoid. Some divers report feeling a cold presence brush against them, or the sensation of being watched by unseen eyes from the depths. Fishermen occasionally feel their lines tugged with unnatural force, as if spectral hands beneath the water are attempting to drag them down. Or hear phantom orders shouted by invisible officers coordinating maneuvers that no living person can hear. These eerie encounters contribute to Lake Champlain's reputation as one of the most haunted bodies of water in the United States. The fog that frequently blankets the lake adds to its haunting ambience. In the early morning hours, a thick, white mist can roll across the water and drift into the surrounding woods. In these moments, the boundary between reality and the past seems to blur. Shadows emerge from the fog. Soldiers reappear at seemingly random points along the shore, and ghostly robots glide silently across the lake. Those who have witnessed these phenomena often describe a sense of déjà vu, as though they are caught in a time loop where the Revolutionary War plays on endlessly, and the dead are trapped in the final chapters of their lives. One recurring legend tells of a young drummer boy whose life was cut short during a skirmish along the lake. Witnesses claim to hear the faint beat of his drum echoing across the water at night, sometimes accompanied by the distant commands of officers. The rhythm is irregular, erratic, and mournful, evoking the fear and chaos of the battlefield. Some say the boy appears on shore, tiny and ghostly, continuing to beat his drum long after the last living witness has left the area. His presence serves as a chilling reminder of the countless young lives claimed by war and conflict. In addition to wartime spirits, the lake is home to countless personal tragedies. Many soldiers drowned in the cold waters, their bodies never recovered. Others succumbed to disease or injuries sustained in battle. According to local lore, these souls wander the shoreline and the water itself, bound by unfinished business, grief, or anger. People report sudden, inexplicable chills, the feeling of being followed by unseen figures, and the sense of a watchful presence when alone near the water. Even the wildlife seems affected. Birds take flight in sudden panicked bursts, and animals avoid certain areas. As if instinctively aware of the spectral activity, Lake Champlain's hauntings are not always malevolent. Many who have experienced the supernatural report a profound sense of sorrow and remembrance. The spirits of soldiers replaying their final moments are often seen as memorials of history, a way for the living to acknowledge the sacrifices and tragedies of the past. Visitors who approach the lake respectfully sometimes report that the hauntings feel less threatening and more like echoes of memory, reminders of the fragility of life and the weight of history. Yet, for those who disregard the stories or venture too recklessly, encounters can be unnerving. Sudden gusts of wind, chilling temperatures, shadowy figures that vanish when approached, and inexplicable sounds can leave even the most skeptical visitor shaken. Many locals advise patience and respect when visiting the lake, warning that the waters remember every loss and honor every spirit still bound to its depths. Lake Champlain is a living testament to history and memory. Its serene waters hide centuries of conflict, sorrow, and lingering spirits. Boaters, divers, and shoreline wanderers alike may glimpse ghostly rowboats, hear the cries of soldiers, or feel the cold, watchful presence of those long gone. The lake is a place where the past refuses to stay buried, where time seems to fold back upon itself, and where the restless dead continue to roam, bound forever to the waters they once fought to protect. In the quiet moments along the shore, when fog hugs the water and the world seems suspended, one can almost hear the distant calls of orders, the muffled cannon blasts, and the echo of soldiers marching into history. Lake Champlain is beautiful, haunting, and alive with Memoria Lake, where the dead still linger, endlessly replaying the horrors and heroism of war for any who dare to witness. Lake Superior, the largest of the Great Lakes, stretches across the northern United States and Canada. Its vast expanse of icy waters, framed by rugged shorelines, dense forests, and isolated cliffs. By day, it presents a breathtaking view. Deep blue waters reflecting sunlight, waves gently rolling against rocky shores, and the tranquil beauty of nature in its rawest form. Yet beneath this serene appearance lies a darker side, a legacy of tragedy, lost vessels, and restless spirits that have earned the lake a fearsome reputation among sailors, locals, and visitors alike. Lake Superior is notorious for its shipwrecks. Its waters, while stunning, are unforgiving. Sudden storms can arise without warning, waves can tower over vessels, and hidden shoals can tear apart hulls in an instant. Throughout history, thousands of sailors have perished on the lake, their bodies never recovered, leaving a haunting presence behind. These tragedies have woven themselves into the very essence of the lake, creating what many believe to be a repository of restless spirits, forever tied to the waters that claimed them. Many visitors report seeing ghostly lights hovering above the lake at night, often described as will-o'-the-wisps. These lights are said to appear suddenly, flickering just above the water's surface. Locals warn that these mysterious glows are not mere reflections or natural phenomena, but the spirits of lost sailors attempting to signal passing boats or, in darker accounts, leading them toward the lake's hidden dangers. The lights appear in random locations, sometimes following boats silently, creating an unsettling experience for anyone caught in their eerie glow. Phantom sounds are another hallmark of Lake Superior's hauntings. Boaters and shoreline wanderers often report hearing foghorns in the dead of night, even when no vessels are present. These disembodied sounds carry across the water with chilling clarity, evoking a sense of urgency or warning, as though the lake itself is replaying a tragic past. Some have heard the rhythmic sloshing of water against the hulls of ships that no longer exist, or the creak of timber-bird decks under invisible footsteps. On windy nights, these sounds intensify, creating a symphony of spectral activity that can leave even the most skeptical listener on edge. Divers exploring Lake Superior's depths have recounted experiences that defy natural explanation. Beneath the surface, where sunlight rarely penetrates, they sometimes see figures in old sailor uniforms, standing on the lake bed or leaning against the remains of shipwrecks. These forms appear solid, yet they vanish when approached, leaving only the cold, still water as evidence of their existence. Some divers report a sudden chill, as if icy hands are brushing against them, or a sense of being observed by unseen eyes. The wrecks themselves, often preserved by the lake's frigid waters, seem to exude a strange energy, a combination of historical gravity and supernatural presence that is difficult to shake. Along the shoreline, experiences are just as unnerving. Hikers, fishermen, and campers occasionally report seeing shadowy forms moving among the trees or along the cliffs, only to vanish when approached. Others feel sudden gusts of cold wind on warm days, or the inexplicable tugging of fishing lines and equipment, as if invisible hands are interacting with them. Some have described faint, distant voices calling names, echoing off the cliffs, and creating the impression that the dead are walking alongside the living, retracing the final moments of their lives. Local legends provide context to these ghostly accounts. The story of the Phantom Lighthouse Keeper is among the most enduring. According to folklore, a lighthouse keeper perished during a fierce storm while attempting to guide a ship safely to shore. On stormy nights, visitors claim to see his lantern swinging atop the lighthouse and hear footsteps pacing the foggy walkways, as though he is still performing his duties, trapped in an eternal vigil over the waters. Similarly, the spirits of crews from long-submerged ships are said to roam near the wreck sites, their presence manifesting as lights, sounds, and apparitions for those daring enough to explore the lake at night. The combination of natural beauty and tragic history gives Lake Superior a chilling atmosphere. On a calm, sunlit day, it seems serene and untouched by human suffering. But when the wind picks up, fog descends, and night falls, the lake's past becomes palpable. Waves crash with sudden intensity, shadows move where none should exist, and the cries of lost sailors echo faintly across the water. For those aware of the lake's stories, every ripple and every gust of wind carries the weight of centuries of sorrow and loss. Even the wildlife appears to sense the lake's haunted nature. Birds circle nervously over certain areas, avoiding stretches of water where ghostly activity is reported. Fish sometimes behave erratically near wreck sites, and the forests lining the shore seem unnaturally quiet in places where the supernatural is strongest. Locals advise visitors to respect the lake and its history, warning that the spirits are unpredictable and that reckless intrusion may provoke encounters best left avoided. Despite its spectral reputation, Lake Superior remains a magnet for tourists, adventurers, and sailors. Its waters offer recreation, its shorelines offer breathtaking vistas, and its history attracts countless enthusiasts of maritime lore. Yet for those who know its secrets, the lake is more than a scenic escape. It is a haunted landscape, where tragedy has left a lasting imprint, and the dead linger beneath the waves and along the cliffs. Lake Superior is a place where history refuses to remain buried, where the echoes of storms, shipwrecks, and human loss continue to play out. To stand along its shore at night, watching the waves roll under moonlight or fog, is to step into a world where the living and the dead coexist. The ghostly lights, the phantom bells, the shadowy figures, and the restless sailors are all reminders that even the largest of waters cannot wash away the past. Here, the dead are never forgotten, and the lake's icy depths hold memories that ripple across time, waiting for those brave enough, or perhaps unlucky enough, to witness them. Devil's Lake, nestled in the heart of Wisconsin, is a striking body of water, surrounded by towering quartzite cliffs and dense forests. By day, it attracts hikers, rock climbers, and nature enthusiasts who marvel at its natural beauty. The lake's calm waters reflect the rugged cliffs and vibrant foliage, creating a scene that seems almost timeless. Yet, beneath this picturesque exterior lies a rich tapestry of history, legend, and unexplained phenomena that have earned it a reputation as one of the most haunted lakes in the Midwest. The lake's ominous reputation originates with the Native Americans, who called it Spirit Lake. Long before it became a state park, the area surrounding the lake was considered sacred ground. It was a place of rituals, ceremonies, and spiritual reflection. Local legends warned that disturbing this sacred space could invoke the wrath of spirits who protect it. Visitors and campers who ignore these warnings often recount experiences that defy explanation, experiences that leave them shaken long after leaving the park. Shadow figures are among the most commonly reported hauntings at Devil's Lake. Hikers traversing the cliffside trails in the evening often describe seeing dark shapes moving at the edges of their vision, disappearing when directly observed. These figures appear human, but distorted, their movements abrupt and unnatural. Some witnesses report feeling compelled to follow the shadows, only to find that the path ahead seems unfamiliar, as if the landscape itself shifts to confound the living. Others claim the shadows appear on the cliffs across the water, observing silently, never approaching but always present. Sudden gusts of wind are another eerie phenomenon associated with the lake. Even on days when the air is still, visitors frequently report bursts of icy wind that seem to come from nowhere, rattling leaves and chilling the skin. These gusts often accompany other paranormal activity, such as whispers calling out names, footsteps on empty trails, or the sensation of being watched. Campers who have stayed overnight near the lake speak of tents shaking and fires extinguishing without explanation, leaving them huddled in darkness, unsure whether what they feel is natural or something far more sinister. Phantom whispers are perhaps the most unsettling encounters at Devil's Lake. Hikers and campers have reported hearing their names called in the dead of night, only to find the forest completely silent when they investigate. These whispers are soft at first, almost imperceptible, but grow louder, more insistent, as if the spirits are attempting to draw the living deeper into the wilderness. Some claim the voices repeat phrases from the past, snippets of conversation from long-dead visitors, or tribal ceremonies, carrying with them a sorrowful resonance that chills the heart. The tales of lost hikers contribute significantly to the lake's haunted reputation. Over the years, several individuals have vanished while exploring the cliffs and wooded trails, never to return. Locals recount sightings of these lost souls as spectral figures wandering near the lake, their faces pale and vacant, retracing the steps they took in life. Some are seen moving along the cliffs at dawn or dusk, their presence accompanied by a sudden stillness in the air, as if the world itself holds its breath in respect or warning. These apparitions often vanish when approached, leaving only the echo of footsteps or a faint ripple across the water as evidence of their passage. Glowing orbs are another recurring phenomenon at Devil's Lake. Visitors describe small, luminous spheres appearing above the water, floating among the cliffs, or darting through the trees. These orbs are not mere reflections or fireflies. They move with intelligence, sometimes hovering for minutes, then darting away suddenly. Campers have reported following the orbs, only to find themselves disoriented, lost in familiar terrain that suddenly feels alien. The lights are often accompanied by whispers or sudden chills, reinforcing the sense that something otherworldly inhabits the lake and its surroundings. The lake's rugged terrain amplifies the sense of unease. Steep cliffs, dense forests, and isolated coves create pockets of wilderness where the living can feel entirely alone. In these areas, natural sounds are muted, replaced by subtle, almost imperceptible movements. The snap of a twig behind an empty trail, the rustle of leaves where no wind blows, or the faint echo of distant voices. Visitors often describe an oppressive atmosphere, a heaviness in the air as if the spirits of the past are pressing against the living, urging them to acknowledge the history that lies beneath their feet. Nighttime at Devil's Lake is when the hauntings intensify. Campers have reported hearing the scrape of claws or boots along the cliff edges, the soft laughter of children not present, and the low hum of voices in languages they cannot understand. Some wake to find footprints around their tents or disturbances in the campsite, though no living creature is present. The combination of darkness, isolation, and the lake's eerie acoustics creates an environment in which the boundary between the living and the spirit world seems too thin, allowing glimpses of the unseen to filter through. Despite these chilling accounts, Devil's Lake continues to draw visitors. Its natural beauty is undeniable, and for many, the legends add a layer of mystique rather than fear. Hikers tread carefully along the trails, campers take precautions, and storytellers recount the tales of shadows, whispers, and lost souls. For those who approach respectfully, the lake offers a chance to connect with history and the spiritual energy that permeates the area. Devil's Lake is a place where the living and the dead coexist in uneasy proximity. Shadowy figures, phantom whispers, glowing orbs, and sudden gusts of wind serve as reminders of the sacredness of the land and the tragedies that have occurred there. Each cliff, trail, and water's edge holds memories that refuse to fade, ensuring that the lake remains a haunting presence long after the sun has set and the last visitors have departed. Watching the cliffs rise against a starlit sky and the water shimmer faintly in the moonlight is to feel the weight of history and the persistence of spirits who refuse to move on. It is a lake that enchants and unnerves, where every whisper, shadow, and flicker of light reminds us that some places remain bound to the past, forever haunted by the souls who inhabit them. Lake Texoma, straddling the border of Texas and Oklahoma, is one of the largest reservoirs in the United States, created in the 1940s by damming the Red River. While today it is a popular destination for boating, fishing, and camping, the history beneath its waters is far from peaceful. Many locals and visitors alike claim that the lake is haunted, that the spirits of those whose lives were disrupted or lost remain tied to the land now covered in water. The most common hauntings at Lake Texoma occur along the shoreline, where ghostly figures are said to appear in the early morning mist or during late evening hours. People report seeing faint silhouettes of men, women, and even children walking through the tall grass or along the edges of the lake, often in the places where homes, farms, and town structures once stood. These figures are described as semi-transparent, sometimes appearing to perform ordinary daily tasks, washing clothes, tending gardens, or walking to the river only to vanish when approached. Witnesses often report a sudden drop in temperature or an unsettling sense of being watched when these apparitions appear, as though the spirits are aware of intruders on their sacred, submerged land. Campers have shared numerous unsettling experiences around the lake, particularly in abandoned areas near the water. Lights are frequently reported flickering in seemingly uninhabited areas, creating eerie shadows and an otherworldly glow that appears and disappears without explanation. Objects have been seen moving on their own, chairs rocking, fishing equipment shifting, and tents collapsing as if an invisible force is manipulating them. Many campers wake in the middle of the night to strange noises, the soft laughter of children, the sound of footsteps on gravel, or the gentle tapping of something against their tents only to find the surroundings empty. When they investigate, some of the most heart-wrenching tales involve the spirits of children who perished during the lake's creation. According to local legend, several children drowned in the rushing waters when the area was flooded. On quiet nights, campers and boaters sometimes report hearing faint giggles or whispers carried on the wind, echoing across the water. These sounds are often described as playful, yet eerie, blending innocence with an unmistakable sense of sorrow. Hikers along the shore have occasionally claimed to see fleeting glimpses of small figures darting among the trees or disappearing into the reeds, as though still playing in a world that no longer exists. Fishermen on Lake Texoma frequently recount experiences of phantom activity while on the water. Lines that appear secure suddenly jerk as if a fish has bitten, yet nothing is caught when they reel in. Boats experience inexplicable resistance or drift in calm waters without any wind. Some anglers speak of seeing shadowy figures standing along the distant shoreline or gliding across the surface of the lake, only to vanish the moment they try to approach. The combination of these experiences, the tugging lines, sudden chills, and the spectral forms creates an atmosphere that many describe as unnerving and surreal. A reminder that the lake's past continues to linger in the present. The lake's creation submerged entire communities, and many locals believe that the spirits of former residents are among the most persistent. These apparitions are said to repeat their daily routines, unaware of the modern world above. Witnesses have described seeing ghostly wagons moving along old roadbeds now underwater, flickers of lamplight in places where houses once stood, and faint echoes of conversations carried across the water at night. These spectral reminders suggest that the land remembers what was lost, and that its spirits continue to exist, tethered to memories of life interrupted by human construction. Visitors also report a general sense of unease around certain areas of the lake. Trails near old settlements feel heavy, as if the air itself bears the weight of past lives. Some experience disorientation while walking these paths, finding that familiar terrain suddenly seems strange or warped. Campers and hikers have mentioned glimpses of shadowy forms at the edge of vision, the sensation of being brushed by invisible hands, and inexplicable noises that come and go with no discernible source. The psychological impact of these experiences adds to the lake's reputation, blending history, folklore, and the unexplained into an unsettling reality. While Lake Texoma draws thousands of visitors each year for recreation, those aware of its haunted history approach with a mixture of reverence and caution. Locals pass down warnings about lingering spirits and unexplained occurrences, advising that respect and careful observation are necessary when exploring areas near the water. The stories serve as reminders that the lake is more than a recreational site. It is a place where tragedy, loss, and history coexist with the living, and where those who perished remain tied to the landscape in ways that the living can sometimes perceive. At night, Lake Texoma transforms. The water reflects the moonlight, creating a shimmering, almost surreal landscape, while the wind carries sounds that seem to emerge from beneath the surface. The laughter of children, phantom footsteps, and flickering lights converge to create a hauntingly beautiful yet unsettling environment. Those who stand along the shore, watching the mist rise from the water, often feel a strange duality. The peace and beauty of nature, mingled with the weight of the past and the lingering presence of spirits unwilling to move on. Lake George, nestled in the Adirondack Mountains of New York, is a picturesque body of water known for its crystal-clear depths and stunning mountainous backdrop. Tourists flock to its shores to enjoy boating, fishing, and hiking, drawn by the natural beauty and recreational opportunities it offers. Yet beneath its tranquil surface lies a legacy of conflict and tragedy, one that has woven itself into the lake's very essence. For centuries, Lake George has been a witness to the horrors of war, and many believe that the spirits of those who perished here continue to roam its shores and waters. The lake's haunting is largely tied to its Revolutionary War history. In the mid-1700s, Lake George served as a strategic point for both British and American forces. Numerous battles were fought along its shoreline, with soldiers on both sides losing their lives in the frigid waters and dense forests. Campgrounds and trails near the lake are often sites of these tragic histories. And locals tell stories of soldiers who never found peace, their spirits trapped between the realms of the living and the dead. Visitors to Lake George frequently report unsettling phenomena that defy explanation. Along the shoreline, hikers often hear the distant sounds of battle, the rhythmic march of boots on uneven ground, the clash of swords, or the sharp report of muskets firing. The noises appear randomly, sometimes rising and falling in intensity, as if the echoes of history are replaying themselves. In the quiet moments between these sounds, witnesses sometimes catch faint, anguished cries, or the murmured names of soldiers long gone, drifting on the wind and leaving a chill in the air. Boaters, too, have encountered strange occurrences on the lake. Fog is a frequent visitor, rolling across the water in thick, silvery sheets that obscure visibility and amplify the lake's eerie atmosphere. Within this fog, some claim to see ghostly ships gliding silently across the surface. These spectral vessels are often described as semi-transparent, their rigging and sails faintly visible under the moonlight. Onlookers report that the ships appear manned by soldiers in period uniforms, standing rigidly as if frozen in time. Just as suddenly as they appear, the ships vanish into the mist, leaving nothing behind but an unsettling sense of presence. Along the trails that wind around Lake George, apparitions are frequently reported. Hikers have described encountering soldiers in colonial attire, standing in the middle of the path or among the trees, motionless yet vividly real. Some apparitions seem aware of the living, watching silently, while others appear entirely absorbed in their own actions, oblivious to those nearby. The figures often vanish when approached, leaving only disturbed foliage or the faint echo of footsteps, heightening the sense that the past has not entirely released its hold on the land. On nights when fog blankets the lake, the hauntings intensify. Observers report hearing the full chorus of battle sounds, orders shouted across the shoreline, the squeal of cannon fire, and the anguished cries of soldiers caught in the chaos. The fog acts as a veil, making sounds seem closer than they are, accompanied by whispers that call their names or plead for attention. These experiences often leave witnesses shaken, a stark reminder of the human cost embedded in the lake's history. Lake George is also home to numerous stories of lost or wandering spirits. Soldiers who died defending the region are said to roam the shores endlessly, retracing steps they took in life or searching for comrades who never returned. Some accounts describe these spirits as warning the living, urging them to tread carefully and respect the sacredness of the land. Others speak of more menacing presences, restless and trapped by the trauma of battle, appearing suddenly along trails or shorelines to startle or frighten those who intrude. Even the natural environment seems to reinforce the haunting atmosphere. The forests surrounding the lake are dense and dark, muffling sounds and casting long shadows that shift unnaturally with the changing light. Winds sweep across the water and cliffs unpredictably, carrying the faint echoes of past conflicts. Visitors often comment that the air feels heavier in certain areas, as if the weight of history presses down, reminding them that the land has been a witness to sorrow, loss, and unfulfilled duty. Locals advise respect when visiting Lake George. Stories passed down through generations warn that those who enter the area carelessly may encounter the spirits more directly. Some believe that acknowledging the past, whether by learning its history or approaching the lake with reverence, can reduce the intensity of paranormal encounters. Others suggest that the restless dead simply linger, bound to the memories of battle and the sacrifices of their lives, ensuring that their presence is never forgotten. Despite or perhaps because of its haunted reputation, Lake George continues to draw visitors eager to explore both its natural beauty and its spectral mysteries. Boaters, hikers, and campers report a mixture of awe and trepidation, captivated by the lake as picturesque landscapes, yet unsettled by the sense that the past is never far away. Those who witness apparitions, hear the cries of soldiers, or feel unseen hands brushing past them often leave with a profound respect for the history embedded in the water and land. Lake George is a living testament to the lingering impact of human conflict and loss. Its waters carry the memories of battle, and its forests and cliffs echo the footsteps of those who perished defending the land. The ghostly ships, colonial soldiers, phantom sounds of battle, and restless spirits all serve as reminders that history is not confined to the pages of books. To stand along the shoreline at night, watching fog roll across the water, and listening to the faint, echoing sounds of the past, is to step into a world where the living and the dead coexist. Lake George is beautiful, haunting, and eternal, a place where the sacrifices of history refuse to be forgotten and where the restless dead continue to wander, forever guarding the memories of their time upon the land. Lake of the Ozarks, nestled in the heart of Missouri, is famous for its sprawling waterways, picturesque coves, and vibrant recreational life. Boating, fishing, and swimming attract thousands of visitors each year, making it one of the Midwest's premier vacation destinations. Yet beneath its sparkling surface and lively atmosphere lies a darker, more sinister side. For decades, locals have whispered about the haunted nature of the lake, claiming that the waters hold the restless spirits of those who perished within them, and that these spirits sometimes make their presence known to the living. The lake's haunted reputation stems in part from its long history of drowning accidents. Over the years, countless individuals have lost their lives in boating mishaps, swimming accidents, or sudden storms. Some locals believe that these souls never truly departed, remaining bound to the waters where their lives ended. Visitors often recount chilling encounters with ghostly figures, especially near the popular boating areas and docked marinas. Many describe seeing translucent shapes walking across the lake's surface, their forms glimmering under moonlight. As soon as witnesses attempt to approach these figures, they vanish, leaving only a faint ripple or lingering mist. Fishermen on Lake of the Ozarks frequently report unusual activity. Lines are said to be tugged or jerked without explanation, sometimes pulling boats off course or startling anglers. Some have described feeling sudden, icy chills while standing on docks or near the water's edge, even on warm summer evenings. Objects aboard boats have been known to move or fall inexplicably, and compasses occasionally spin without cause. These incidents are often brief but enough to instill a sense of unease, reinforcing the lake's reputation as a place where the boundary between the living and the dead is thin. The lake is also associated with more disturbing phenomena. Several accounts describe faint cries for help echoing across the water, seemingly coming from nowhere. On some nights, these cries are accompanied by laughter that turns abruptly into sobbing, leaving witnesses unnerved and questioning what they heard. Swimmers have reported the sensation of unseen hands grazing their limbs or being lightly tugged while in the water, prompting them to scramble back to shore. While skeptics dismiss these experiences as tricks of the wind or imagination, those who have lived through them swear by their authenticity. Legends surrounding the lake extend beyond accidental drownings. Some stories tell of murder victims whose bodies were never recovered, believed to have been hidden beneath the waters. Locals claim these spirits linger, seeking justice or simply unable to move on. Witnesses recount fleeting glimpses of figures appearing near popular coves at night, sometimes emerging from the water and disappearing into the mist. Campers and boaters alike have spoken of cold, oppressive areas near these sites, as if the environment itself recognizes the presence of something beyond the natural world. The lake's unique geography seems to amplify these paranormal occurrences. With its winding channels, hidden inlets, and densely wooded shoreline, it is easy for shadows to appear where none should exist. Mist often forms over the water, even on sunny days, creating an atmosphere of mystery and unease. Locals say that on particularly foggy mornings, the lake becomes almost otherworldly, with spectral shapes drifting silently along the water and ghostly sounds carried across the breeze. Many attribute these phenomena to the spirits of those who met untimely or violent ends, forever tied to the waters that claimed them. Visitors also report unusual experiences on land surrounding the lake. Docks, piers, and abandoned structures near the shoreline are often sites of reported paranormal activity. Flickering lights, sudden gusts of cold air, and inexplicable sounds are common. Campers have recounted waking to the feeling of being watched, or seeing shadowy figures flitting through the trees, always disappearing when approached. Even local residents acknowledge these occurrences, warning newcomers to treat certain areas with caution and respect, especially after dark. Despite or perhaps because of its haunted reputation, Lake of the Ozarks remains a popular destination. Its beauty and recreational appeal continue to attract thousands each year. However, for those attuned to the lake's darker side, the experience is both mesmerizing and chilling. Ghostly figures, mysterious sounds, and inexplicable movements serve as constant reminders that the waters carry a history of tragedy and unrest. Many who encounter these phenomena describe a lingering sense of sorrow and unresolved tension, as if the spirits are replaying the final moments of their lives. Whether it is the tugging lines felt by anglers, the apparitions walking across the water, or the faint cries and laughter heard at night, Lake of the Ozarks presents an environment where the past refuses to remain silent. The lake's beauty is undeniable, but beneath the surface lies a reservoir of memory, loss, and lingering spirits. For those who venture onto its waters after dark, the experience is one of awe and trepidation. A place where the natural world and the supernatural coexist, often without warning. In the end, Lake of the Ozarks is more than just a recreational paradise. It is a living reminder of lives lost to the water, of spirits unable or unwilling to move on, and of the stories that persist long after the sun sets. Those who visit are drawn not only by its beauty, but also by the haunting legacy that refuses to fade, ensuring that the lake's mysteries remain as deep and unpredictable as its waters. Shadow Lake, tucked away in the dense forests of California, lives up to its ominous name. Unlike many of the state's scenic lakes, Shadow Lake has a reputation that extends beyond its natural beauty. For decades, visitors have shared stories of unexplained occurrences, mysterious figures, and sudden weather changes that give the lake an eerie, otherworldly quality. Its quiet waters and surrounding woodlands seem to conceal secrets that only reveal themselves to those willing to pay attention. One of the most frequently reported phenomena is the sudden appearance of fog. Even on bright, sunny days, a thick mist can roll over the lake, obscuring the shoreline and transforming the familiar landscape into a ghostly scene. Campers and hikers caught in the fog often describe seeing vague shapes moving through it, human-like forms that vanish when approached. Some claim to have seen figures gliding along the water's edge or standing motionless among the trees, only to disappear when someone attempts to get closer. This recurring pattern has left many visitors unnerved, given the sense that the lake itself is aware of their presence. Fishermen on Shadow Lake have shared their own unsettling experiences. While casting lines into the calm waters, some report sudden tugs or movements on their fishing gear without any fish in sight. Others describe the sensation of being watched, with a feeling that an unseen presence follows them along the docks or the shoreline. On certain nights, faint whispers can be heard across the water, calling names or murmuring unintelligible words. The voices vanish as quickly as they appear, leaving a lingering sense of unease. Campers in the area often wake to the sound of footsteps on the docks or rustling among the trees. Even when no one else is present, objects have been known to move inexplicably. Chairs tip over, coolers shift, and lanterns flicker, as if influenced by an invisible hand. Some witnesses report seeing strange lights hovering above the water, small orbs that drift slowly and vanish without warning. These experiences, while brief, are enough to instill a deep sense of apprehension, reminding visitors that Shadow Lake is unlike any other body of water. The lake's unsettling atmosphere is often described as a mixture of awe and fear. Its fog-shrouded waters, silent woods, and hidden coves create an environment where the ordinary feels uncertain. Hikers and explorers frequently speak of the feeling of being followed or watched, of shadows flitting at the edge of vision, and of the persistent sense that the lake holds memories of those who have perished there. Locals believe that these spirits are not malicious, but rather guardians of the area, protecting the sacred grounds and ensuring that visitors respect the mysteries of the lake. Legends surrounding Shadow Lake suggest that the unexplained phenomena are tied to the restless spirits of people who died in tragic or untimely ways near the water. Some stories speak of lost hikers who vanished, only to be glimpsed later as shadowy figures among the trees or along the shoreline. Others tell of spirits that drift across the lake at night, moving silently through the fog, as if retracing steps from a long-forgotten past. These tales contribute to the lake's aura of mystery and have been passed down through generations, reinforcing the idea that Shadow Lake is a place where the living and the unseen coexist. For those who approach the lake with respect, Shadow Lake is both beautiful and haunting. The mist rising over the water, the shadowy figures that appear and vanish, and the unexplained sounds that echo through the forest create a sense of connection to something beyond the ordinary world. Visitors are reminded that beneath its calm surface lies a history of mystery and lingering presence, making Shadow Lake a place that captivates, frightens, and fascinates in equal measure. These haunted lakes are more than water and waves. They are mirrors of the past, reflecting the tragedies, losses, and mysteries that linger long after life has moved on. From shadowy figures on the shore to ghostly ships and whispers over the water, each lake carries stories that blur the line between the living and the dead. When you visit, take a moment to listen, to feel the wind across the water, and remember, some histories are not just remembered, they are lived eternally in the haunting of the lakes.